Now, here's Ed Bernstein.
Our town is awash in something called Rock in Rio. What is it? Well, here to talk about it is Roberta Medina. And your family started the Rock in Rio festivals. And I guess this is the first time it's in the United States.
That's
the
right.
first time it's in Las Vegas, obviously. You're formerly, you have these festivals in Rio and Madrid and Lisbon. And your dad started this a long time ago.
That's true.
Right? Talk to me, what exactly can we expect in Las Vegas? Then we'll talk about the history.
Okay. Thank you for having us. I mean, it's a pleasure to be here talking to you. What we are bringing to Vegas, it's like a theme park of music. That's what Rock in Rio is about. We're gonna find the best acts. I mean, 2 weekends in May 8, 9, 15, and 16. First weekend dedicated to rock. Second weekend dedicated to pop. So, I mean, who goes there are gonna have amazing concerts and also a theme park with a lot of attractions like a giant hill, a zip line that is 600 feet long that you fly over the crowd during the concerts. You have like 3 different rock streets. There are theme streets dedicated, one to Brazil, the other one to the UK, and the other one to the US, where you're going to find food and products and artists with showing their culture to the American audience. So that's going to be very like a theme park. You're gonna go there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and won't leave until 2 in the morning, doing a lot of good stuff with food courts and a lot of things to do.
And this is on the southwest corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Sahara. For years, we've looked at this piece of ground. It's been empty for a lot of years. Everybody thought maybe one day it would be a hotel or casino there. And then out of nowhere, all of a sudden, it's becoming a festival, a music festival. And I guess during the rest of the year, they're going to have other events there as well. But Rock in Rio was started by your father. 1985 was the first time they had it?
That's right. Actually, coming to Vegas was a good coincidence that we met Cirque du Soleil back in Rio because of another project, and we fall in love for each other, and they got to know Rock in Rio, and they said, I mean, this has to be in Vegas. So we wanted to come to the U.S. We were not exactly planning this to do this year and that fast, but I mean, being with MGM, Cirque du Soleil, and the Ukaipa group, they're building this wonderful venue that we designed together. They're going to be a permanent open-air venue for other events. Rock in Rio will be here every 2 years, but then many good things are going to be happening there. So we are really proud and happy to be part of that. And back in 1985, do you want me? Can I go?
Yeah. That's what you were a young girl in 1985, right? Your dad had an idea and put on. How did he create the first one?
One thing that is really different is that Roberto, my dad, he's an advertising man. He's not a music promoter. So Brazil was living the military regime back in 1985, and we had the whole generation looking for freedom, and for the first time they would be able to express themselves, do whatever they wanted. And Roberto wants to show to the world a strong youth, and also to promote Rio as a tourist destination, because he's totally in love with the city. And he understood that taking the big international names in music to Rio would make that happen. At that time, no big bands would go to Brazil at all. And Brazil had a really bad fame in stealing equipment or not paying talent. So that was a big challenge. And we had like 1.3 million people in 10 days of music with Queen, AC/DC, Rod Stewart. I mean,
are these photographs from the Rio?
That's the Rio, but it's the second edition. That's in Maracanã. The first edition, that's interesting to explain why we did in Maracanã the second edition. This first edition, I mean, it was a very social and political moment, intense moment in Brazil, and they decided to destroy the City of Rock after we did the event. Although the event was a success, I mean, the mayor at the time was kind of concerned, so he didn't want to have that again. When we wanted to do it again, we didn't have the place where to do, and we decided to do in Maracanã Stadium. But that was not Rock in Rio. Like it became like a concert, and what we are proposing to the audience is coming to have fun, to spend time with your friends and family. You don't have to like the same thing, because if you better like rock, you have the rock all day in Rock Street, UK. If your wife better like dancing, you have the street dance stage in the Rock Street, US. And if your son better like electronic music, you have the electronic dance, and you're gonna meet at the end to have dinner, to watch a concert. So it's a very family-friendly event, and with this proposal of creating a place where people can be happy and
It's
have
like
fun.
a lifestyle experience more
Exactly.
than just a concert.
Exactly.
So
with
how
the best names always.
Well, let's talk about the best names, because in the beginning, when your father is not in the promotion business, he's in the advertising business, how did he get the big names and who were the big names that he got the first year?
Well, that's an interesting story, because he came to after the first challenge we had is because the purchase power in Rio was so low in Brazil that even selling 1 million tickets, that wouldn't pay the bill. So we had to start working with sponsorship that was not common at that time. And that made possible, to pay the bill. And then he came to hire the talent, thinking that would be the easiest part.
Right.
And then he did like around 70 meetings here in LA and New York, and got 70 no's. Nobody wanted to go to Brazil. Nobody believed in Brazil, as we were saying. And last call, he asked the help for Frank Sinatra, because they had a close relationship since 1980, when Roberto did the biggest show of his life back at that time in Maracanã Stadium. So Sinatra helped us, calling a press conference, and then we had the opportunity to present Rock in Rio. And as the American press announced that the biggest music festival would be happening in Brazil next month, so then the next day all talents were coming and being available to come. And we are talking about Queen with Fred Mercury, AC/DC, Scorpions, George Benson, James Taylor, Rod Stewart, so many of them.
Now, of course, I assumed that even in that time, you had to pay them a lot of money.
Well, yeah.
Right?
Even at
they were
that
big
time.
stars, even at that time. Now, this time, let's talk about let me skip around, but I do have a schedule here somewhere.
You know what? It's
Yeah.
talking about the lineup. Now it's more complicated. That was difficult because no big bands would go to Brazil at all.
Right.
But now it's more complicated, because as the music market changed a lot, and records doesn't sell that much anymore, so concerts are really relevant to their career. So now you are fighting for dates, not in the US, but with
Around
the
the
whole
world,
world,
yeah.
because we are a very mainstream event, so we deal with really big names. So these people were the same. You don't have that many options.
Right.
So that's like a puzzle. It's a tough job.
Just trying to
we
get
spend months on
commitments.
that.
Trying to get
Exactly.
commitments from people like No Doubt, Foster the People, Metallica, Linkin Park.
yeah. That's the first weekend dedicated to
weekend.
rock.
But then you have people like Taylor Swift, Ed Sheeran,
Sam Smith.
Bruno Mars, John Legend,
Yeah,
Joss
Joss
Stone.
Stone.
Yeah, you got a little
Many of
bit
them.
of talent for everybody.
Yeah, and the good thing is that different from traditional festivals, here the two main stages don't play together, so you can watch all concerts if you want to.
So, when you buy a ticket, do you buy a ticket for
For the
both
weekend.
weekends or
No,
just one
you
weekend?
buy a ticket for the weekend, as we know that the public that goes to the rock weekend is different from the public that goes to the pop weekend. So you choose, and you have the 2 days to enjoy.
Why did you pick Las Vegas?
Well, actually, as we were saying, Las Vegas chose us by Cirque du Soleil, and we were, again, we wanted to come, but we are not planning at this moment, and meeting Cirque du Soleil, and they brought MGM group and the Yucaipa group together in this. So, we have the best partners, and we are in the city that is the center of the entertainment of the world.
Yeah, you do, but traditionally you've been in Latin cities, in Madrid.
It was not
Lisbon,
exactly
yeah.
strategically. We was born in Rio, and going to Portugal for a Brazilian company to start its internationalization from Portugal is the best way ever, because it's a small country, it's an established economy, although with tough moments right now, all Europe. But I mean, it's easier to go from there. So Portugal was a natural move, and then Spain was, I mean, as we are here.
Next door. Next door. Spain's next door when you're in Portugal, right?
Why not?
Yeah.
So we met people, I mean, that wanted to take it there, and we did it.
So what has been your most successful venue so far?
Well, Brazil, it can't compare, because for Brazilians, Rock in Rio is like an icon. It's a symbol for a whole generation. So the value that the brand has for Brazilians is like, I mean, like Woodstock to that generation. So we sell out tickets in 4 hours, 600,000 tickets. People want to be there, whatever band are going there. So it's a different move. Portugal, we have been really happy in Portugal. We are there now for 10 years, 6 editions already. So it was a very important country for us to establish a new format of business, because we used to do, because of the purchase power in Brazil, we used to do the event, I mean, with 6 years of break, and then 10 years of break. And in Portugal, because the economy, we could do this every 2 years.
More stable.
And then have a permanent crew, and then make the business grow.
I was just showing some video of Mick Jagger performing.
Yeah, that was the last edition in May in Lisbon, and it was amazing because, I mean, Bruce Springsteen were in town because of his daughter. They were hiding horses in such a place, and then my father met him in the hotel and said, "Well, why don't you go there?" And from this point, to see him singing with Rolling Stone were like really amazing. And another fun part is that President Bill Clinton, was sitting in the house mix watching the concert. So it was like a fun, special moment.
So you grew up in this business, and then at some point, you made a decision you wanted to be involved. I mean, because you have other brothers and sisters that some are and some aren't, right? So what was it that attracted you to, work in the business with your dad?
Well, it's interesting because you could think that it was because of him. Of course, big part of it is because of him, but I fall in love for event production. It was not with Rock in Rio, it was before I got involved. I was marketing assistant to a shopping center that were doing Disney concerts in Christmas time. And at that moment, my father always, at home, he was always talking about the dream, communicating, talking to people, making it, I mean, nothing is impossible, a lot of things. But he's not in love with how to put the stage on, how to organize the lighting, how people get in, get out. He knows everything, but it's not what he loves.
So what is his love?
His love is communication.
Just creating an event that people are going to enjoy.
Yeah, involving people by communication and creating the whole concept, getting people together, yeah.
So when did you first then start to work with your father?
My first one was the 3rd edition, in 2000. The edition was 2001. We started working together for Rock in Rio in 2000, and he was really crazy at that time. Of course, I had wonderful opportunities to be working with my father, and you have a price to pay. You have good things and bad things for that. And he asked me in the first one to coordinate the production, and I said, of course not. And he said, yes, you are going, because it was a huge meeting with the whole crew. He was dividing responsibilities. And I said, no. He said, yes. I said, no. The 3rd time I said, okay, you were saying that. I'm not ready for that. I didn't have the experience, but it was amazing. It was, really tough. But I had, all the best professionals in Brazil around. And I learned a lot. It was like a master in 9 months. It was really intense, but really good.
Great education. We have some video from Rock in Rio I want to show, and then when we come back, I want to ask you about who was the most endearing rock star that you have met.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
Forget everything everything you think you know about music festivals. This is Rock in Rio, the world's biggest music festival. And here in the City of Rock, you can understand why it's been such a huge success. Everything is so well organized and there's tons of attractions. There's really no limit to the amount of fun you can have here. This is Rock Street, the most famous street in the City of Rock. So picture this at Rock in Rio in the U.S., but instead of one street, there will be 3 or more theme blocks guaranteed to entertain. Each themed block at Rock in Rio will feature the country's local culture. You'll experience everything from food to art, and let's not forget the music.
This is Rock in Rio!
Rock in Rio, the big acts shake the main stage while DJs play throughout the night. That's 2 weekends of music you don't want to miss. The biggest music festival in the world is about to hit the U.S., so get ready to rock, America!
Rock in Rio, the world's biggest music festival, now in America.
And of course, I just want to remind people, this is May 8th and 9th, and May 15th and 16th.
That's right.
Las Vegas Boulevard and Sahara, and tickets, I guess you can go online and buy the tickets, and you pick the weekend, or the pop, or the rock, or whatever you want. So you've met a lot of pop stars, a lot of rock stars. Who's had the greatest impact for you, you've met?
You know, I mean, we work so much during the event that we don't really have that much time to go backstage, and I feel like I don't want to
impose. Yeah.
Not impose, and they are either before the show they are preparing themselves, they are nervous, and after they're enjoying their friends and the happiness of the concert. So I usually don't go there many times, but the last edition in this one was special because our light designer is also a light designer from Rolling Stone, Patrick Woodruff, and Patrick got in Lisbon. He said, "You gotta come here to the backstage." So I went there to meet him and said, "No, I want to introduce you to Mick Jagger." I was not prepared to that. All right, okay, but I mean, it's not that I get nervous, but I think about everybody that would want to be at that moment talking to that sir, and I feel honored because of that.
So who is there somebody that you haven't been able to get to perform yet that you'd really like to see?
Oh my gosh, nowadays, that was a name that we got in the last edition in Lisbon. That was Robbie Williams. And I know that he's not so popular in the US now, but what I love about his concert is he's an entertainment. I like the songs, I like his music, but it's more than that. The show he does, the fun, I mean, they really make people enjoy themselves during the concerts, and that's what I believe it's live concerts. I mean, if you are watching a concert, you can watch everywhere, but that moment with those people in front of you, with that atmosphere around, that's the big moment.
Yeah, and for the entertainers, you're performing for 80,000 people.
It's powerful, yes.
It's very powerful. Now, do you have the zip lines and the other events in the other cities as well, or is this only a Las Vegas thing?
The difference here is the city is bigger than in Rio, for example, and here we have 3 rock suites, and usually we have only 1, and the venue here are going to be even more amazing than the others we have, because you have the artificial grass, you have permanent restrooms, no portable restrooms here. You have an amazing VIP tent with air conditioner for 4,000 people per day, with all-included buffet and open bar. I mean, with a great view from the stage. You're gonna have a few things that are really different. That is really Vegas, and we are very excited. I mean, I can't wait to see the American audience getting inside of the City of Rock.
Yeah. Now, are you a little concerned because in Las Vegas, unlike other American cities, they're kind of accustomed to this. And we have the Life is Beautiful, Electric Daisy Carnival. I mean, big events are very common in Las Vegas. So you're going to be competing with these other events, although you're not competing at the same time, but you know, they've created a standard in this city.
Yeah, that the challenge is because Rock in Rio is not like any other festival. So that's our challenge, is to be able to tell people what is Rock in Rio about, that it's not a traditional festival. And because of the high level infrastructure that we deliver, all the experience of the City of Rock, like you go there to spend the whole time with a lot of attractions. We talk to different kind of people than those that are the traditional festival goers, because our public goes from 15 to 50 years old. I mean, people that would never go to dust or camping. Our camping areas, MGM hotels. I mean, it's going to be very different from everything that you ever heard about here in the U.S. And actually, we are I mean, excited to show that because we really don't have something to say, well, Rock in Rio is like something. No, it's a real unique experience. You gotta get there early, otherwise you're gonna be, I mean, oh, I should have gotten here before because there's so many things to do, and the atmosphere and the care we have with the cleaning of the space, with the prices that you're gonna be paying inside for food and drinks. I mean, all the little
details.
yeah.
And these details, I mean, this is essentially you're creating a city over
right.
a weekend, because you have, you know, security, police, food, first aid, everything, right? I mean, every little detail is very difficult. I mean, you're almost like the mayor of the city.
Well, hope not me, the mayor of the city, but we also work with the authorities, the local authorities a lot and for a long time, because it's not that everything has to work well inside of the city of Rock. It has to work well to Las Vegas as the city. So we are doing a big management traffic plan. So we are taking care of all details. So we make sure people will get there easily. They will find transportation, or they will find parking lots, and they won't have to be in lines. And if they want to buy a drink, they won't have to be in line. That's going to be easy and calm. A very nice atmosphere.
Is it very different when you're dealing with the city of Las Vegas compared to you know, Lisbon or Madrid? I mean,
no, it's actually here. There's something that is better. Not Lisbon, not that much, but in Brazil, because you have a lot of rules, and that's good because you know.
We have rules in Las Vegas.
In Vegas,
right,
in the U.S.
Right.
So and Vegas too, and we deal with the consul and the city. So the point is, when you know what the rules are, that's much easier. Because we want to know. We don't want to have surprises. I mean, we cannot have surprises with 85,000 people or 50,000 or 60,000 people a day. So we have to work very close to them, make sure we are doing exactly what it's needed to do. And, I mean, to have a place where people are going to have fun and be happy.
Right. So your father is going to be still actively in the business?
Sure. He's our president. Yeah, it's all about him.
Right. So your dad's going to be coming to Las Vegas and
he's
spending
moving
some
to
time
LA
here?
in the next few weeks, and they're going to be coming here, I mean, always.
Do you anticipate other festivals in other parts of the United States?
Not for now. There are some people that would love to do this in Miami, but we are now very dedicated to Vegas. We are going to be here. Our agreement is already to do 15, 17, and 19. So, I mean, we are here to stay. We don't want to leave. We want to be here forever. I want to listen that in 10 years, that the kids that are being born, they say, well, Rock in Rio is part of the town, is part of the country, and that's what I want to hear.
Yeah. So when you have an entertainer like Taylor Swift, how long will she perform?
Well, usually an hour and 45 minutes. Every show has a different timing. She could go from 1 hour and 45 to 2 hours, and we have like 2 hours and a half, depending about each performance. So the first ones would be an hour, and then an hour and a half, and that's the way it goes.
And having so many people in an outdoor event like this, how do you then work the sound? That must be challenging, right?
Well, for us not, because we have, I mean, one of the best companies in the world working with us. That's really relevant for us, because lighting and sound has to be the best ones. So we can manage to have, I mean, if you are really far from the stage, you will listen to perfect quality of sound, and you won't mix with the other stages. I mean, it's really a must in Rock in Rio. We have been very happy with that. I mean, all the feedback about that.
And what about the food? You have the food's going to be supplied by MGM, or how does the food
We are
work?
going to have a few different companies operating. One will operate the VIP tent, that's separate, and then another company doing operating the main bars and small business in the shopping centers, in the shopping stores in the Rock Street. So you have a big mix, so you are not in the hands of only one, and you have a lot of options, and you're gonna find, if you're a vegetarian, you're gonna find something for you there. I mean, all kind of foods, so you have an option, always have an option.
And you have retail, you have retail shops or
Yeah.
concessions going.
Exactly, in the Rock Streets.
What type of retail would it be?
I mean, there's so many
Gift
different
shops,
things. Some
t-shirts,
sponsors do activations there. Then you find people selling glasses or clothes, and you have
Right.
the official products from the merchandising stores. You're going to have different things.
All right. Wow, it sounds just incredible. So when I look at this and when I can compare it to something like Life is Beautiful, what would be the main differences?
Actually, I would never compare because they are totally different things. Traditional festivals has one motivation, and Rock in Rio has another one. Rock in Rio is a 11-hour experience in a venue made for him. We're gonna have all the comfort for the audience. We're gonna have a lot of attractions. You're gonna spend the day with the big names of music, pop and rock. I mean, but it's a totally different experience. You go there not only for music, but to entertain yourself with family, friends, and have fun.
When you project the audience, what percentage do you anticipate to be tourists compared to local?
Well, we don't know yet. Of course, it's the first year, but we know that we have already people buying from 32 different countries and 46 states from the U.S. So it's going to be a
See,
good mix.
that's the wonderful thing about Las Vegas, is that we have the experience of bringing people in from all over the world, tens and sometimes hundreds of thousands of people. We have the hotel rooms, and we're accustomed to these large venues. So in that regard, I think it's we have the experience, and it's easier to put a show on in Las Vegas than it is in a lot of other cities.
Oh, that's for sure. That's for sure. We are in the right place.
Yeah, well, we're happy to have you here. So
Really
once
happy
again,
to
this
be
is
here.
May 8th and 9th, May 15th and 16th, and Rock in Rio. It's in the you have to figure the corner out. This is the southwest
Street.
southwest corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Sahara. You're going to have parking there, right?
Not close to the event,
close.
otherwise it wouldn't
They
work
have
at all.
shuttles?
But we are going to have shuttles.
And the
we are gonna have
monorail is right there. You can take the monorail, go.
and parking in specific areas, and we are going to be releasing all this information pretty soon.
Okay, hey, we all look forward to it.
Great,
It's
hope to see
exciting,
you
and
there.
yeah, much success with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.